It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Call us on your cell phone.
Culinary hotline bling.
That can only mean one thing.
Hey, you know what time it is? It's time for the culinary hotline bling. Ting, ting, ting. So say the masses. Listen, and this morning we've got our go-to pastry chef, Angie Boyd, who's joining us in the kitchen today to show us some great tips on how to upstyle your classic shopboard cakes. You want to turn it into from a cheap cook to a very expensive-looking cook. That's what we're talking about. Give us a call on 0214309881. We'd love to conquer your culinary conundrums. Angie, how are you?
Good, because nobody likes a cheap cook.
Yes, okay. Angie,
Yeah.
so when you are going to a shop and you're going to go buy a cake, right, what are the hallmarks and characteristics to look for? Because, I mean, generally they're all covered in
Yeah,
icing or some
yeah.
sort, to know that you're buying a good cake.
Yeah, it is a difficult one. So when you are buying a shopboard cake, the thing is to kind of have a look at it. The more homemade it looks, probably the more homemade it is.
Okay.
So something like this carrot cake or that chocolate cake, you can see, bearing in mind as well, your icing is your most expensive part of the cake.
Oh.
So when there's lots of icing on, they're using cheap ingredients. When there's a little icing on, they've probably used better quality ingredients. Because
Okay.
they're trying to work out
Sparingly,
their
try to
costs.
use it sparingly.
Yeah, they're going to make some money, so they're going to do what they're going to do. So read your ingredients labels. That's always the best thing. Doesn't matter what you're buying, read the labels.
Yeah.
And then you can see if there's lots of sugar, lots of oil, or whatever. You can tell if there's preservatives, you can tell whatever. So it's up to you what works for you. And you get to know your brands as well. So
Yeah.
get to know your shops where they sell decent quality
Yeah.
cakes, and then others sell the cheaper cakes.
Do you think you could tell the quality of the cake based on the quality of the craftsmanship when you look at certain details about how, let's say, the roses might have been piped on? The better that's done, you're like, oh, they put in so much effort, that's a good cake.
Not necessarily. I know you'd think so.
Yeah.
But, you know, those ladies have been trained, the ones that work in the kitchen.
Yes.
And they know what they're doing. They're making those cakes all day, every
Okay.
day. So they're pretty good at it. Doesn't necessarily mean that the quality of the ingredients is good.
All right, okay,
Yeah.
cool. So let's talk about what you can do to make a cake look and taste better.
Well, buy a simple cake. So that you also can buy these plain sponges at
Yes.
many of the shops, which is quite nice. They are very light, simple sponges, but then you can take them and do something better with them. So you can then add your own icings and fillings and goodies that you want to do to jazz it up and make it better. So what you can do, for example, is something like this where it's sort of peeling, because as you take the wrapper off,
Yes.
it sort of comes with it. Flip it upside down.
Okay,
most
and you
of
get the
time,
flatter part
you
of it
get the
as well, so
flatter
it's easier
part.
to work
Yeah,
with.
That's a sort of rule of thumb with any cake, is flip it upside down, and then you can take your bits off, trim it off. You can trim the edges off if you want to, if you really want it to be neat. You can make, this is only cut in half, for example. So if I was going to buy this, I would cut it into lots of thin layers with a very sharp knife. And a nice little tip is to use a bread knife. You know, people, it sounds obvious, but don't use a straight-edged knife. You want to use a serrated knife.
Yeah, that's serrated
Yeah.
knife. Otherwise, you'll just be pressing
You're
the
going to be
cake further.
squashing the cake
Exactly.
instead of slicing it. And another little trick is to take a little bit of twine, cotton, nylon, whatever. And I can't do it now because I don't have my glasses on. But
I'll be your glasses. What are you supposed to do?
what
This
you
is
would
very
do
interesting.
is, for example, you want to cut it in half. You're just going to take it like that. I can't see if it's halfway.
Okay, no,
And
that's
then
like... No, it's not half,
Then you're
but...
going to, well, let's pretend.
Let's
And you
pretend
just
it
you keep pushing and pushing and
Look
pushing.
at
and
that,
it'll cut-
Angie.
It'll cut all the way through eventually. And then you've got a nice clean cut, especially if you don't have a good quality knife.
That's brilliant.
Cool, hey?
And then you just roll it up and put it back in the storeroom.
I learned this at culinary school a million years ago and I've never used it.
It's a brilliant technique.
But it's a
Listen,
good technique.
we're going to keep our lines open on 0214309881. We'll be back with a culinary hotline bling. Sing, sing, sing.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Call us on your cell phone.
Culinary hotline bling. And right back into the kitchen for the culinary hotline bling. Ching, ching, ching. We're talking about turning your store-bought cakes into fabulous looking cakes, especially, Angie, if you're going to be sending one with your child to school.
Yes.
You know, there's a lot of pressure on
there's
parents
so much pressure.
to deliver a beautiful looking cake. So how then do you do that to make sure your store-bought cake is fit for a princess?
Well, and I know a lot of people either hate baking or can't bake or don't have an oven or don't have the stuff. So buying these store-bought ones is a great option.
Yeah.
So we'll take this
I'm
one.
going to stand on this side so you
Yeah,
can
you're
show
gonna-
us the
you're gonna
skills.
help
So
me a little
this is you. The cake would have come like this
Like
from
this.
the shop. Boom,
Yeah.
there it is at home.
Take
Cool.
the lid
Now
off.
what?
There we go. So now we're going to take all of this stuff off because it's a little old-fashioned, A.
Okay.
And B, it's a bit on the cheap and nasty side. So we don't know, it doesn't taste great.
Okay.
So we're going to take it off. We just want the cake.
DIY, how to do it yourself at
You
home.
can actually
Okay.
see it's even a little... The other thing is check your expiry dates, eh?
Oh,
'Cause
okay, yeah, that's
these
something
things
because...
sit on the shelf and you don't necessarily want that. So we're going to take... Yo, this is a messy business.
Shoot. The thing is, at the end of the day, baking can sometimes be a little intimidating. I know it is
Yeah.
for me. So
It
even
is.
attempting to bake a cake for whatever special occasion, you'd rather go to the store and buy one.
And also, it's daunting. You know, you've got to buy all those ingredients, have everything ready, and it's a lot of mess and fuss. Much easier to make your own icing.
Okay.
And another thing to do is, like, you can buy things. Buy the caramel treat. Buy
Okay, but what is that? What do you do? You
this
you
is
just sprung into that. I was like, what is going on?
Sorry, this is straight up butter icing
Butter icing that's just been with a bit of colour in it.
with a bit of colour in it. And a nice little trick, if you don't want to get these crummy things,
Yes.
is to just brush it with some melted jam. Then
Okay.
it gives it a bit of a glaze. Then you can put your icing on.
So melted jam, you would have put
Yeah,
the,
just
the
brush
jam
it with
in a pan first for some...
or in the microwave.
Okay, okay.
And then just brush it over, then it seals the crumb, and then you can put your icing on. But we're
Okay.
just doing this quickly for the
Great
purposes
stuff,
of that.
yes. Now.
Right, then on top, you can just take a little shape or whatever, and you can put some of your sprinkles in.
Oh, okay,
sprinkles in.
that's going to be lovely.
Some glitter, whatever sprinkles you've got, some of that confetti, what have you.
I mean, already it's looking
Better.
10 times better.
And then we'll
Now.
take our... So I'm going to show you, and then you're going to carry on.
Okay.
Um,
I was told this is one of the most difficult skills to master at culinary school, piping.
Okay, so we're just going to do like a
Oh,
zigzaggy.
look at that, Angie. So you just got to squeeze it and then just...
Squeeze and just go zigzaggy. Okay, you do it.
Okay.
I've done a little bit there, and then just
wow.
move this thing out the way.
Oh, my director's asking me to turn the cake
Oh,
so that
yes.
they can see how
And I've
colossal
made-
this mess is. So you're going to give it a press and you're going to go... Nya, nya, nya,
There you
nya,
go.
nya. Ah,
Are you
ahead.
getting it? Are you getting it?
Hey. You go ahead and you carry on. I mean, I will not be sending anyone's child with a cake that I've
Okay.
decorated
So you
ever.
can-
Okay, so you got to press it in there a little bit.
Quite hard, and the other thing is you don't have to use this. You can just take some more icing
Yes.
and
Just give it a good
maybe
working on the side.
Take a little spoon. Maybe pass me that
I'll
teaspoon
pass
over
you the
there.
teaspoon. There we go.
And then you can just sort of smear it up, give it sort of a...
Oh, that gives it a bit more character.
Gives it some character. And it's so easy. You're just putting the icing on. If you don't feel confident with any piping skills.
See, now that would have... Yeah, I
Just
should have
do
done
that.
that. I should have done that.
And
And then
then-
look at that. Can we have a shot of that side?
yeah.
Just a little bit of that side, because I think that looks absolutely wonderful. And then,
And then you can always sort of do a little bit more on the top.
yes, you
So-
go ahead, Angie. You do that. You do
Pick
that.
your nozzle. You can do a nice swirly
Yeah, but now you must
rosette
carry
nozzle.
on.
Oh,
actually.
sorry.
Yeah, because we actually want to see what it looks like at the end of the day. So give us a call on 0214309881. We're helping you take your store-bought cakes to a brand new level, making them look super delicious and super expensive. Especially, like I said, now if you are going to be sending your little one to school with one of those cakes. That is extraordinary.
And then you can
Okay, wait,
put...
wait. Can I do the last
Yes,
bit?
yes, yes. And then you can put some fresh berries on if you would like to make it look a little fresher and... Go on, do it. Press hard, press hard. Brilliant, brilliant.
Terrible.
You'll be a cake maker yet.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Call us on your cell phone.
Culinary Hotline Bling. That can only mean one thing when you join us at this time of the week, time for the Culinary Hotline Bling. Sing, sing, sing. Brad, why didn't you say sing, sing, sing? No, Brad is our lighting guy. He's very quiet this morning. Anyway, we're joined by pastry chef Angie Boyd in our culinary hotline this morning. We're helping you to turn your store-bought cakes into absolute masterpieces that you would be a delight to not just look at, but to eat as well. So next up, the ordinary carrot bunt.
Yes.
How would you take this to the next level, Angie?
Well, it's a pretty nice looking cake as is, I think.
Yeah.
So you could maybe add... Of course, they've put as little icing as they can get on because, you know, it's expensive.
And like Angie said, that's kind of like a rule of thumb you could use.
Yeah.
If the cake has little icing on it, you could presume that the cake is well made because
Yes.
icing is very expensive.
And they focus more on the cake, which is a good size, and you can
Yes.
see that it's got a nice moist texture as well.
Absolutely.
If you
I find
touch it.
that carrot cakes are just always a winner.
You almost can't go wrong with it.
You can't.
So
Okay.
carrot cake it is. So, but we can jazz up. You can put more cream cheese frosting on if you wanted to make your own. Or we could take, which is our Kitchen Fairy's little trick. This is fantastic. Caramel treat, and cream cheese.
Caramel treat.
And you've
cream
mixed it,
cheese.
or just whipped it together.
Oh, have you
and
whipped
you've
it
got
together?
this, it's delicious.
This-
It's not as sweet as the caramel treat. It's got a nicer texture.
bless, that's good.
Okay, good. And then we're just going to zigzag it over. We're just going to make it look a little more decadent.
Look at you.
I'm going to let you do the rest of this. I'm doing half.
I could not possibly mess this up. Leave me with
This one's
oh,
easy.
goodness. Okay, so I'm going to go inside and just out. Inside and just out. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Good, good.
So,
That's it.
Look
at you. Next
Oh,
job.
my word.
Cake decorating.
Okay, I missed a spot. Just give it a once over, just to fill up those gaps. Because, okay, do you see what I just did there, Angie? So, in the first attempt,
are you
I went in
teaching
one
me now
direction.
how to
Yes,
go?
yes, Angie.
Okay.
So have a look at this. In the first instance, I went in the one direction, and my second time over, I went in the other direction. So it looks like the lines are crisscrossing.
You are like the smartest guy
Call
on
me
TV.
Gordon Ramsay. No. Okay, what then?
Right, then we're going to take some store-bought donuts, these little cute ones.
Yes.
And you can just sort of pop them over.
Bless.
You just want to make it look a little bit crazy, and you're going to take some of this chocolate. I mean, this is when your mother-in-law is coming over, then you want to impress her.
This is a brilliant idea.
Some extra pecans or walnuts, whatever you've got. And then some of these, anything you can find. So all of this you've bought. You haven't made any of it, which is great, right?
Wow.
You've saved yourself loads of time and mess and washing up.
I mean, now you're talking about impressing your stepmother or your mother-in-law.
Stepmother.
Whoever it is. Whoever needs impressing in your life, it's fine. They'd never know that you bought it at Tanny Cecile's.
Exactly.
Tanny Cecile's bakery there in the
Taste
corner.
Nywerheid. Yes.
Waar die tuisnywerheid. Waar die tuisnywerheid beskuit is lekker.
It actually
Dis die
is.
lekkerste wat
They
mens kry.
actually do it the best.
Look
okay, so
at
you
that.
just kind of... I've only done half the cake, but you
Okay,
can do
well,
the whole thing.
we'll give you that side of it to look at. And just hold the shot for 1 second in case you want to put that on your Instagram. Angie, thank you so much. Brilliant ideas. You have one more idea for us,
Yes.
which we will be sharing with you shortly. And if you have questions to ask about cake decorating, our master pastry chef is here. Give us a call on 021 430 9881.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Call us on your cell phone.
Culinary Hotline Bling! All right, that was rather exciting out there, but back in the kitchen again for one last Culinary Hotline Bling! Ting, ting, ting! And Angie Boyd is helping us turn your store-bought cakes into absolutely delicious looking and tasting masterpieces. So we've worked with the sponge cake and we had a
very
chocolate,
plain.
carrot bunt, and now the chocolate sponge. This is what
sort
we're
of like
looking
a
at.
loaf shape here.
Okay, so what would you do in redecorating this cake to make it look
Okay,
good?
well, firstly, I would actually cut it in half.
Okay.
And then perhaps take some, I'm not going to do it now, but take some ganache, spread it on the inside. And ganache is literally your chocolate and cream mixture.
Okay.
So it's just equal quantities melted down until it's this divine looking,
Yeah.
right?
And I guess that will just kind of, as
It'll
we say,
just-
mugnel into the cake on the
Yes.
inside, make it a little
Yeah,
softer as
bearing
well.
in mind they've kept it pretty simple here, so you want to make it seem a bit more homemade.
Yes,
so
okay.
add that, maybe some peppermint crisp. You can crumble that up on the inside. That would be nice.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so and then once that's done, I would just take some extra of the ganache while it's still sort of runny.
Okay. Oh, don't burn, Angie.
No, it's not.
It's not hot. Okay. Mine's
And
pot's
then-
not hot.
And then we're going to
we
just
go.
sort of add a bit more.
So you're going to
on.
just add more of it. Just be...
And also bearing in mind, you're going to buy some chocolate that's probably better quality, whereas they'll have used probably the cheaper chocolate that they can find. So you're just really chocolifying it, like a lot.
that is
Okay.
just...
Then a nice little thing to do is take some of these, again, store-bought marshmallows.
Yeah?
And we're going to just pop
I see
them
you've
all
halved
over.
some of
I've
them. Some of
halved
them are whole.
Just because they are quite large. And we can just
Oh, my word.
kind of do this. Now, what we're going to do is take this. Now I have to figure this thing
Okay,
out.
okay. So this is the blowtorch.
The blowtorch.
There we go.
And we're going
Let's give
to
them a little once-over.
sort of get them to melt a little bit, preferably.
Ooh. Oh, I hope you got that on close-up. Ah, yes,
So it's
beautiful.
kind of like a, oh gosh, a s'mores effect.
Oh, it's bending!
Never mind. And then
Okay.
you can take a few
All right.
more chocolatey things.
So I'm going to let you do that. So you're going to add chocolates, cherries, and coconut.
Yeah, we got whatever you've
So-
got. Cranberries, cherries.
We've got somebody on the line for you right now.
Yes.
Zenit, all the way from Goodwood. Good morning, Zenit.
Hi, good morning, team. I'd just like to know, I like to use the cream cheese topping, but I can't seem to get a stick without adding more icing to it. What can I use to substitute the icing?
Okay, so substituting the icing in your cream cheese, you say?
The cream cheese topping, I
Cream
usually
cheese.
put it on the carrot cake.
Okay, so the cream cheese, yeah, how do you make it thicker?
Yes.
The cream cheese topping on the
Yeah.
carrot cake. What's the
Well-
general recipe to make a good one?
The cream cheese topping is really, it's almost like a butter icing. So you've taken your butter, whipped that up with your cream cheese, and then you add your icing sugar accordingly. So if you, the icing sugar isn't necessarily going to make it thicker. It's just going to extend it and make more.
Yeah, so how do you
So
thicken it then?
it will thicken naturally. So if you've got your butter and your cream cheese in the bowl first,
Yes.
whisking that up and beating it until it's fluffy.
Yes.
And then just add as much icing sugar as you want. So if you don't want it too sweet, just add less icing sugar. It's not going to
Okay.
necessarily make it any
And
different.
it's not a case of folding it in order to get that
No,
air in the pocket. So
no.
just kind of spin it long enough. So you know-
Yes. Perhaps add more butter in the beginning as well, because that's going to hold it together.
All right.
Yes.
What thickness should you be looking for in?
Something that you can spread.
Okay, as simple as that.
So
All right.
spreadable.
So Zena, give it a try. Spend a bit more time with that butter and cream cheese beating it
beginning.
in the beginning.
And that's
yeah.
another
Okay.
tip for your... Got it.
Oh, she said thanks.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay, perfect.
And I think your patience is
Another
always.
tip for your butter icing is to sorry, I'm not paying attention, am I? With your butter icing is whip your butter using a whisk attachment in your bowl. So
Okay.
it's really, really fluffy. And take your time, spend an enormous amount of time getting that butter nice and fluffy, and then start adding your icing sugar.
Excellent.
Okay.
Well, listen, after our culinary hotline bling today, look at this. These are the 3 cakes, store-bought, that we've just transformed into masterpieces. Feast your eyes on that. Angie, thank you very much. We'll see you again next week for the
Pleasure.
culinary hotline bling.
Ting, ting,
Give it a spin. Give it a spin. Give it a spin. Look at that.
it a
It's spinning. It's spinning.